What is up, Armchair Army? Welcome back to another iteration of Armchair Mixed Martial Arts. This is Joshua, as always, and on this episode, we're going to be previewing UFC 278 as well as reviewing the UFC Fight Night that was in San Diego. And just some quick what's going on in my world. We just recently got our audio fixed up, so I'm certain if you're listening to this one, it's going to be significantly better than the last one. We've been doing tons of podcasts over here in the Monkey Mouse studio. We actually just got through recording a Shut Up You'll Listen and Ones Who Woke Up podcast. Both were featuring Adam the Brown Recluse Bowles, who's a wonderful stand-up comedian who's currently operating out of Austin, Texas. He's also show running, putting on some shows at the Alamo Draft House over on Mueller every 2 weeks, every Friday. So go check him out, follow him, give him some love on social media. I really appreciated having him in the studio. Outside of that, on the personal side of things, my 2.5-year-old kiddo is a tyrant. My dog's a tyrant. And so I'm just always kind of swimming in the deep end, trying to keep up with them too, single dad life and doing my podcasting and running my other businesses. But I'm hanging in there, man, and I feel like the Monkey Mouse studio is really starting to catch its stride, especially since there was a period of time where we had a bunch of tech difficulties, and then there were some audio difficulties, and I feel like we've got it all hashed out now. So, let me know in the comments how you feel about the audio and video quality that we have going on right now. But to dive right off into the meat and potatoes of the UFC Fight Night San Diego card. It was Vera versus Dominic Cruz, and Vera threw a head kick heard round the world. He managed to capture lightning in a bottle again, right? He did him a similar way to how he did Frankie Edgar, right? Big head kick knockout. What it comes down to is Dominic Cruz zigged when he should have zagged, and he dipped right into a head kick, and he landed flat on his face. Cheeto swarmed him, hit him with several shots, and that was that. And it was a really good stoppage. I don't think that he's going to be getting on to the referee for giving him an early stoppage or anything this time. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was Cheeto's night. He got a 4th round knockout. It was exceptional. He's been on a tear. He's been in the UFC for a really long time, and his record's a little salty, but a lot of that was him gathering up, him getting experience under his belt in the UFC at a young age. Dominic Cruz, I mean, he's only got 4 losses, right? The guy is a beast. And I just feel like the game has kind of caught up to him, right? He was like the innovator of that, like, drastic head movement, wild footwork, zigzagging in and out type of style that he has, and now there's guys like that in every gym, right? And they might not be as good at it as Dominic Cruz, but the fact is that he managed to influence the sport as a whole, and now you see that type of footwork and headwork happening in gyms all across the United States, and in the octagon all the time. And so it isn't as like novel and new and like impossible to wrap your head around as an opponent when you're fighting Dominic Cruz, because you have guys who can give you that look these days. And Dominic Cruz is getting a little old. I was talking with my buddies during the fight, and definitely seemed like after the first round he was getting a little slower. After the second round, he was getting a little slower. It just seemed like he was getting slower after every round, right? And Cheeto just wasn't going anywhere. I mean, he knocked him down in every round, I believe, and then managed to knock him out in the 4th round. And so, Dominic Cruz is a legend. I really, really like him in the booth. He's super smart. He knows exactly what's happening in there. He provides amazing technical analysis. And so I'm always looking forward to seeing him in the booth. And he's also a fantastic fighter. I mean, again, he's only got 4 losses. I think his last 2, I think his last couple losses were to, they were like champions. Like these are guys who, there's no shame in having losses when you're Dominic Cruz, and you only have 4 losses in your entire career. So I don't believe Dominic Cruz is going anywhere. I believe he's going to keep right on fighting, and he's going to keep having awesome performances. But it's Cheeto Vera's time, right? It's the here and now, and it's Cheeto Vera's time, and he's gonna continue to skyrocket. He's really hitting his prime. He hits like a truck. He's patient, really really good in 5 round fights, man. Like he's gonna be real trouble. The only thing that I think he might run into is that if he ever finds himself not in main events, he might be starting too slow and he might be in a bad spot. But again, that's something that like he'll be able to take care of on his own. So yeah, I see really big things on the horizon for Cheeto Vera. I don't know exactly who they're going to give him next, but I don't want to dive too far off into it because this is primarily a 278 preview show. And so, yeah, Cheeto Vera got a really awesome win. Knocked Dominic Cruz down in every round and got the head kick knockout in the 4th round. And congratulations to him. It was an awesome night of fights, though, man. There were a bunch of really good fights here. Nate Landwehr in the co-main fighting David Onama. It's an insane fight. David Onama seemed like the bigger guy, definitely had the longer reach, definitely seemed like the more athletic dude, definitely won the 1st round. But then everything after that was pure Landwehr. He was just wearing on him and pushing him against the cage and smothering him and throwing lots of volume. There was just nowhere for Onama to go at all. And like once he started to gas, Landwehr just put it on him. And he's got like some really fun, like in the ring charisma that I really like. He's like agging on the fight. I'm a fan. He was a champion in another organization. I can't remember the name of the other organization, but I do know that he was a belt holder in the organization before he came to the UFC. And I see big things on the horizon for him, man. It was a really, really fun fight, and I can't imagine that the brass isn't gonna slide him fun fights. I mean, he's like a fight of the night type of guy every time he goes in there, as far as I can tell. Yasmin Yaragwai got the decision win over Yasmin Lucindo. At the end of the day, she has had the crispier boxing, right? Like she was throwing shots straight down the middle. And so when they were getting into the big wild exchanges, she was landing cleaner and therefore to greater effect. And she was spending less energy throwing tight punches down the middle than her opponent was throwing big looping punches around the outside. So she looked really, really good. I can't wait to see what they're going to wind up doing with her moving forward. Azamat Mirzakhanov got the TKO over Devin Clark in the 3rd round. Just overwhelming performance. He's good. The guy's really, really good. You won't catch me betting against him moving forward at all. I mean, he managed to keep his undefeated track. He's now 12-0. Devin Clark's dad was like getting so crunk between the 2nd and 3rd round, and it had even had me inspired. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough to overcome the tidal wave that is Azamat Mirzakhanov. And so, like I said, he got the TKO finish about 1 minute and 20 seconds into the 3rd round, preserves his undefeated status, and keeps moving up the ranks. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with him. Gerald Meerschaert got a really nice submission victory in the 3rd round over Bruno Silva. Frankly, he hit him real hard, and I thought that it was going to be a knockout or a TKO, but Bruno managed to tuck his head and get in close to Gerald Meerschaert. But at the end of the day, that's not the guy to do that to. He put him in a guillotine and made him tap. It was a really impressive performance. I was really, 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 really pleased. Oh man, and even the prelims were good on this one. This was a really good fight card, guys. Angela Hill, big fan of Angela Hill. She got the victory, 3-round decision. She looked great over Lupita Godinez. Her record's salty, right? She's 14-12, but at this point, I think she's kind of agreed to the role of just being somebody who goes in there and fights a lot and fights anybody and puts on exciting performances. And even by her own measure, I think she's referred to herself as like the Cowboy Cerrone of the women's divisions. And so I can see that, right? Going in there, fighting a bunch, and just having a blast doing what she does. Yeah, I was really, really happy for her. She got a nice payday, too. I believe she actually made more than Dominic Cruz. which is wild. But Angela Hill's been around for a long time. Also, Angela Hill is the first ever Black American female to fight in the UFC. And yeah, that's a little bit of a shock to me because, black girls are typically real athletic. And you'd think they'd be ready to get in there and whoop some ass with that athleticism, but no, you don't see it too much. But props to Angela Hill for being an outlier and for clearing the way for girls in the future who want to follow suit. So yeah, I'm really happy for her, man. Good win. Moving forward, I mean, they're gonna give her fights. She's gonna have fights. There's never a shortage of fights for Angela Hill. There was a heavyweight fight between Martin Buday and a cat named Bresky, and I thought that Bresky won, man. I mean, Bresky landed more shots outright everywhere, and on top of him having landed more shots, it seemed as though his punches were landing to greater effect, right? The only thing that Martin really had going for him is that he was like being aggressive and like moving forward the whole time. But I don't understand how that's enough to get him the win. I've even heard like Big John McCarthy explain the rules and like how the like hierarchy of judging is supposed to work. And if I'm not mistaken, like you wouldn't need to consider effective striking and damage done if someone gets knocked out, right? And like that same energy goes through the rest of this, right? Where like you don't need to consider aggressiveness or octagon control whenever someone had a distinct advantage in the effective striking and damage done department. You feel me? Like no one got knocked out, and so we're looking at who did the more damage and who had the most effective striking. And that was clearly Bresky, right? And if there wasn't like a clear victor whenever you go to that variable, then you would take into consideration the next variable, which is aggression and octagon control. And so I don't understand it. And even like DC and Michael Bisping were both saying that they didn't quite understand it either. And so it's just frustrating whenever like these refs, or excuse me, these judges are out here doing stuff that like no one really understands. Like, I mean, DC and Michael Bisping are both world champions in mixed martial arts, and they're basically having to be like, well, we don't know how it's going to get judged. And that's ridiculous. I mean, these guys literally have more experience in there than those judges. Like, they have the seasoned experience, and it's just wild to me that these guys are not nailing it that regularly, in my opinion, right? I'm not. Maybe they have more training than me. Maybe they literally know better than me. But I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty smart guy, and I've heard like the breakdown of how this is supposed to work, and I've seen the fights, and like I know how I felt about the fight. It seemed like Bresky won, and it seemed like DC and Michael Bisping both felt the same way, and so. I think they need to change something with how they're doing the judging. I really think that that's something that needs to happen pretty desperately. I don't know if it needs to be like a crowdsourced thing or just like a bigger panel and they take an average, or like what they need to do, man. I know I like what PFL does. PFL does a thing where they have the smart ring, right? Like the octagon itself actually has like a metric that it gives in terms of like how effective they think someone's been. And so that's neato. I really like that. They also show the fan votes. They also show the scorecards of the commentators, and then they show the scorecards of the judges, and they name each judge. And so if it's like the smart octagon picks somebody, the announcers pick somebody, the fans pick somebody, and 2 out of the 3 judges pick somebody, you can see that it's like Judge X has done a really, really bad job. And although I don't think they're doing anything to necessarily maintain accountability beyond putting them on blast like that, I do really like that, and I think that could be elaborated upon, and it could be made so that like those things are actually considered in the actual final scoring of the thing, so that they can get to better scores, man. Because there's been some fuckery for a long time, and I remember DC saying, I can't wait to make it to the there's like a judging conference coming up, and he's like, I can't wait to make it to that so I can learn how to watch mixed martial arts. And it's like, bro, whenever you've got like a world champion, like one of the best to ever do it in DC, going, I can't wait to go to a judging conference so that I can understand how to even watch mixed martial arts. I mean, the guy, you understand mixed martial arts. You competed in it. You were able to win. Like, he clearly gets it. There's just a dissonance between the understanding that the fighters and the world champions have and the understanding that the judges have. And that bridge that gap needs to be bridged really desperately, because, like, there are people who are betting on this shit, and there are people, like, there's, like, money on, like, there are guys in there fighting for their literal lives, and that's being fucked with by these judges who are doing a poor job. And so it needs to be addressed very sincerely, and I hope that they do something about it sooner rather than later. But it seems like they're probably never going to do anything about it. Nina Nunes retired. She got her win. I predicted her to win. Go me. But at the end of the day, I wasn't expecting for her to retire at all. That wasn't what I had picked. But good for her, man. At the end of the day, this sport is not really friendly to people on the way out. Like, people go out on their shield, battered and bruised, right? And she got her a nice win, and she gets to ride off into the sunset, and she gets to focus on training other girls and raising her beautiful family with her beautiful wife, and, right off into the sunset on a win, dude. I thought that was really cool, and I'm really, really happy for her, and I wish that more people got to go out that way. But at the end of the day, congratulations to Nina on a spectacular, a good career, man. It was a really good career. She deserves every bit of credit that she's ever going to get. I know that I made a video of announcing that she'd retired, and someone was like, this isn't really news, she was a mid-fighter. Well, fuck you. I'll tell you right now, anybody in the UFC isn't a mid-fighter, bro. You're like a mid-commenter. There are people, like, these people take ass whoopings in the gym that you've never taken in real life at all, and that's just what they do for fucking practice. And they're in the UFC. Like, everyone in the UFC is exceptional. That's like saying that, like, someone in the NFL is a bad ball player. Something like that. Like, it's just, like, generally ignorant and disrespectful to say something like that. I mean, maybe you could get away with, well, she's middle of the pack in terms of, like, her peers in the UFC or whatever, but, like, man, let's be real, dude. On the planetary scale, that's one of the baddest humans on the fucking planet. And I don't want to hear about how they're mid. I don't need that type of disrespect. No one needs that, especially whenever you're trying to say something nice about them on their way out. Like, let them have their moment. And if you weren't a fan, keep that shit to yourself, man. Let these people have their moment, because they deserve it. And so Nina Nunes retired, rode off into the sunset, had an awesome career, has a bunch of really great stuff to look forward to, went out on a win, like, lots and lots of positives, man. I'm really, really happy for Nina Nunes. Gabriel Benitez, shout out this guy. He liked my video that I made of him. I made a video talking about how he won, and he went and liked it. That made me feel really good. Also, last week, Jeff Hands of Steel Neal liked my fucking page. Bro, you're the man. Go you. You're like number 8 welterweight in the world liking my page? That's like some social validation right there. There's only like 179 other ranked fighters in the UFC that I need to follow my page, man. Shit. Setting trends, bro. You can be the first one. You have like a special place in my heart, Jeff Neal. For real. I really, really appreciate you giving it a follow and a like, man. That's badass, bro. Maybe we get you on the pod sometime. But beyond that, Tyson Nam had a fantastic knockout in the first round, like 3 minutes into the first round, of O'Day Osborne. I'm really excited to see what's going to come of Tyson Nam. He's a fun dude. But that's probably enough talking about last week's little fight night.
Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.